Welcome to your pose of the week. This week we are taking a look at 90-90 pigeon pose. This is a great pose to stretch out the hips, especially the external rotators and the abductor muscles, the deep glute muscles, all the good stuff there. And it is also good for stretching our back. So it's a pretty beneficial, somewhat intense, can get intense very quickly, stretch, but lots of benefits. And hopefully with time and practice, you'll learn to love this pose as much as everybody else. So let's go ahead and get into the pose, and then I'll just show you a couple different modifications that you can try out to make this pose work for you and to meet your body worth at as you build your stretch practice. So to set it up, first, I'm going to face you, and then I'll turn at an angle so that you can see a different view of it. So just as the name says, you want to set it up where the legs are at a 90-90 degree angle, 90-90. So we'll start with the left shin first. You'll lay the left shin on the mat. I like to start with the shin parallel to the edge of the mat, and then the back shin comes parallel to the short edge of the mat. So you're already starting to feel like you top over. This is very similar to the Zorro pose that we do, except for here, we're not worried about the foot and the knee coming into contact. So you'll find some length through the spine, ground down through the knees and the thighs, or the knees and the calves here. Keeping the spine straight, you're going to turn your torso so that your heart center is in line with the left knee. Keep the spine straight, slightly turn, and start to hinge forward out over this left knee. So you're thinking about maybe the shin or the chest coming out and over the knee. So spine straight. Think about leading with the chest as you hinge out and over, coming down, coming down, coming down, coming down. You'll come all the way down to where the knee is resting right here on your chest. You'll extend the arms long out in front of you, palms, fingers are spread, palms turn up, nervous system hack that we use, and relax here. Let the head drop. So if you're right here without any other props, and maybe you need some support for your forehead, you could always use a block to rest the head on. And the block has several different heights here. And you could also use blocks to place your palms on as well. So let me switch myself around here a little bit, coming at a different angle so that you can see. So the knee is pointing towards you this time. Length through the spine. We're going to turn so that our heart center is in line with the left knee here, and hinging forward, leading with the chest, leading with the chest, leading with the chest, walking the hands out, 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 all the way out, extending long, letting the head drop. All right. So a couple of options here. I feel like I'm just making a complete circle here. I want you to be able to see all this stuff. So maybe we're folded over. Again, you can use a block for the forehead. You can do that. Maybe use some blocks for both hands. You're extended out long and you have your hands. I feel like I have to turn all the way around here. You have your hands on top of blocks. Just turn your palms up. You can also come down. Maybe you stack your forearms and let your forehead rest on your forearms, or maybe you stay upright on your forearms instead of stacking and lowering down. Maybe you stay up just like this, palms up towards the sky. You relax here, and as you melt down closer and closer and closer to the knee, then you can stack your forearms, let the head rest, or maybe you stack your forehead on a block or hands on blocks. There's a couple of things that you can do here. First, if having you want to get as close to this 90-degree angle as you can. Now, I understand sometimes there are things going on in the knee joint, or maybe you're recovering from a knee injury. There's a couple of things that you can do. First, maybe you close the joint a little bit more. So instead of the shin coming out parallel to the edge of the mat, maybe you close the shin or pull the shin in closer, closing the joint, the knee joint a little bit more. You can pause right there. Maybe you pause here, spine straight, and you just turn your torso so you're facing the left knee, relaxing your hands down the ground. Maybe you pause right here, and then you can slowly walk yourself out over the knee. But if you can, try to get your legs at that 90-degree angle. Maybe you need to sit up on a block or two. You can always place a block underneath your hips. But of course, when you start to lift the hips up, you're going to want to lift the legs up as well to find that centering position. I don't have my other blocks over here, so maybe I'll use my blankets instead. So we're lifting up. And know that if you come up on your blocks, I would recommend just staying upright for a little bit. And then maybe with time and practice, you start to remove the blocks so you can hinge out and over. Even if you're up on the blocks, because if I'm up here and I start to fold over the left leg, it starts to create compression in places that I don't want the compression in. So maybe you stay upright like so, turn your torso in line with the left knee, and you just start to walk your hands out, forming somewhat of that tent pole, as if your body is a tent and you're planting some poles down into the dirt. Maybe you stay right here for a little bit and create that space where you can remove the block and come all the way down. You can always prop up on blankets as well. You can place one underneath the front shin and the back shin, something that is really supportive for the knee and for the legs. You can try to hinge out and over like so. Maybe you just need some support underneath the hips. You can try just sitting up on a blanket. And because we're on the blanket here, it's squishy. We have some room to kind of play around here. It would be okay to practice folding out and over the left knee. And of course, if you have any sharpshooting pain anywhere, back out of it. Maybe your practice is just here for right now, and that's totally fine. You have plenty of time to dedicate to this pose, to stretch those muscles out. As we're relaxing here, those muscles start to stretch out a little bit longer, a little bit longer, a little bit longer, creating that space and what feels like a little bit more of that freedom to drop in a little bit deeper into your pose. All right. So just make sure. And for some people, staying upright, maybe you just place a block here and you stay upright just for a minute or so and slowly start to work towards just turning your torso in line with the left knee. You're going to feel this a lot on the outside of our hips here. If we come down, probably feel a lot on the outside of the left hip here, and you might feel a little bit on the outside of the right hip. And as we drop deeper into it and extend our arms long overhead, it's going to deepen the stretch, but we'll also start to get the stretch in our back as well. So that is our 90-90 pigeon. There's lots of different variations and ways to get into this pose. Just be very mindful of the knee. Don't force anything into this. We've got a lot of movement happening in our knee or in our hips. We've got a little bit of this internal rotation, and then we have this external rotation. So two movements going on here. The body, just sitting up like so, the body, a lot of the muscles are going to start to engage and tense up to try and hold our torso up. So you're going to feel a little bit of that strength engagement feeling as you're setting this pose up, and that's totally fine. You set the pose up, but as you crawl out, just allow the body to melt, drop down towards the ground. And you'll feel the feet relax, everything starts to relax. The stretching noise or tension is going to be outside of our hips here. So, all right, that's our 90-90 pigeon here. It can get intense very quickly, but it's a really effective pose as well. There is mobility drills that you can do with it, but we're not worried about mobility right now. We're just focusing on the stretching. So that being said, you'll see this pose show up quite a bit, not just in our stretching practice, but for our stretching practice, keep an eye out for it in our hips or back classes. So, all right, that is it. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you on the mat again very, very soon.